But in Newbridge and in Kildare South, Minister, the pressure, as I've mentioned and as you're aware, having met the campaign for who are looking for an Educate Together school in the Newbridge South Kildare area, but similarly a lot of parents who contact me, as I've articulated to you previously, have a lot of concern about provision. And I know your officials have argued that future demand will be met by both existing and planned developments. There is a lot of concern that may not be the case. So, when we talk about the planned extensions, particularly to the Patrician Secondary School in Newbridge, which is planned for 2019, I put it here in the record of the House, that needs to happen sooner. The pressure on spaces and the demand for that school is really, really significant, and I would ask your officials to look at how quickly that can be expedited. Similarly, there's a planned extension of Cross and Passion College Kilcullen for 2018, and as far as I'm aware, no meaningful work has commenced on that process yet, and we're near the end of 2016-2017. So for that to actually happen in 2018, I would like to see real engagement from the department on that. Similarly, we have planned extensions in Athy, and that's not to mention the new ASD unit that will come with those. That is really, really important because we have a shortage of ASD units at second level. We've been good at development at a primary level, but that leads to its own pressure, and we're facing a bit of a cliff where we have children in ASD units at primary level at present and don't have those spaces for them to enter into at second level. So that needs to be expedited, and I know there is a plan for those. It's as part of the extensions, but we need that to happen very quickly. The whole area of Section 29s has been touched on by a number of my colleagues here previously in relation to this, and again, maybe spoken about in a different manner. Section 29 is a very difficult situation when there's spaces in the school. If that has happened, and maybe somebody hasn't met the enrolment criteria, for me, there's been an awful lot of Section 29s in my local area, but because those schools are oversubscribed, and it's a very harsh, blunt instrument. Also a very costly instrument, I would imagine, for the state. I believe the cost of an average Section 29 is close to €700 for each process. It takes up a lot of man hours, but there's a huge emotional involvement by the families, and it's a very crude instrument in that unless you can prove an actual specific structural deficiency, you can't get into maybe some more of the sentiment of the cases as they may be, and that's really important. So, look, Minister, this bill is definitely a step in the right direction. There's more that needs to be done, but I'm delighted that I'm part of a government that is addressing admissions policy, and something that we talked about in the last government, and it's great now to be able to see that being progressed. In relation to the pressures I talk about in South Kildare and the Educate Together campaign that I referenced, I have maybe encouraged them to go back and look at other options, as well as they've been fighting for a new school. Your department are saying there isn't the demand there in place for that new school. We would argue around some of the figures that are being used, but I do call on those campaigning for more choice, which we need in provision in South Kildare, to look and sit down and engage with the Education and Training Board to see what options are there. We have partnerships and we have collaborations in other parts of the country that I think can be used as models here as well, as another angle. But similarly, I would ask your officials to keep a very close eye on demographics of Kildare South, because we have one of the fastest growing, one of the youngest populations in the country, and the pressure that we have coming on is very evident in our schools. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Deputy Heydon. Deputy Durkin, you have the